So this is Cambridge IGCSE 0478/21, Paper 2, May, June 2023, number 11. Okay, you need to read this out to yourself in the exam a few times. A one-dimensional 1D array, days, contains the names of the days of the week. A two-dimensional 2D array, readings, is used to store 24 temperature readings, taken once an hour for each of the 7 days of the week. A 1D array, average temp, is used to store the average temperature for each day of the week. Let me ask you a question. How many arrays are there? Yes, 3. Days, readings, and average temp. Which of the arrays are one-dimensional? Yes, days and average temp. Which one is two-dimensional? Yes, readings. Okay, let's continue. The position of any day's data is the same in all 3 arrays. For example, if Wednesday is in index 4 of days, Wednesday's temperature readings are in index 4 of readings, and Wednesday's average temperature is in index 4 of average temp. We'll go over what that means later. The temperature readings are in Celsius to 1 decimal place. Temperatures can only be from minus 20 degrees Celsius to plus 50 degrees Celsius, inclusive. Write a program that meets the following requirements. Input and validate the hourly temperatures for 1 week. Calculate and store the average temperature for each day of the week. Calculate the average temperature for the whole week. Convert all the average temperatures from Celsius to Fahrenheit by using the formula Fahrenheit equals Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. Remember, we are inputting in Celsius. Output the average temperature in Celsius and in Fahrenheit for each day. Output the overall average temperature in Celsius and in Fahrenheit for the whole week. You must use pseudocode or program code. We will be using Python, and add comments to explain how your code works. You do not need to declare any arrays, variables or constants. You may assume that this has already been done. We're going to write the whole program, declaring everything so that we can actually reference it when we write our functions, etc. All inputs and outputs must contain suitable messages. All data must be rounded to 1 decimal place. You need to initialize and populate the array days at the start of the program. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write a Python program which describes this whole situation. Okay, so what you need to do next is you need to structure the actual question, because you've been provided with actually very little structure. So you will come into the exam probably with highlighters and different coloured pens, or at least a blue and a black pen and a pencil. So what I've done here, or what we've done here, is highlighted the first sentence. A one-dimensional 1D array, days, contains the names of the days of the week in one colour, in this case yellow. Then the next sentence is highlighted in a different colour. A two-dimensional 2D array, readings, is used to store 24 temperature readings taken once in an hour for each of the 7 days of the week. And the third sentence, which refers to the third array, is highlighted in a different colour. A 1D array, average temp, is used to store the average temperature for each day of the week. Now, by what happens is that when you highlight it, it becomes far more clearer to you that there are actually 3 variables that they're talking about, or 3 arrays, and what the actual arrays are doing. Because as you highlight them, of course, you read the passage again, and things become a lot more slightly clearer to your brain. Right, then this point, so we've labelled this point 1. Now we're going to label the next paragraph point 2, and here we've just highlighted it all in one colour here, and it's referred to days, readings and average temp, and in a way it's sort of saying how the data in them is related. Then the next paragraph, as it were, we've labelled 3, and the first sentence we've labelled or highlighted in green. The temperature readings are in Celsius to 1 decimal place. So when we input data, we're going to input it to Celsius, 1 decimal place. Temperatures can only be from -20 to +50 degrees centigrade inclusive. Okay, we read this, we highlight it, and these facts are circulating somewhere at the back of our mind. And all these things in paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 will come into play when we write our program. So, 4, write a program that meets the following requirements. Each of these points are labelled 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've enumerated all of these points. So if we've enumerated them, when we write our program, we can go back to see exactly which point we are referring to. 11. You must use pseudocode or program code and add comments to explain how your program works. This is very important. We're going to write it in Python, and we're going to test our program to see it actually works. And your program needs comments. You will get marks for these comments. Point 12. Now it says you don't need to declare any arrays, variables or constants. I've crossed it out. Why? Because you're going to basically, in the answer scheme, and what you're going to do here is you're going to write the program and you're going to get it working, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get this program written and working, and you're going to put everything in it. It's much easier to put everything in it than to leave things out. It becomes a mess. Basically, you're going to have a whole complete thing. We think in complete ways, and that's how we're going to write. Point 13, all inputs and outputs must contain suitable messages. Point 14, all data output must be rounded to 1 decimal place. Point 15, you will need to initialize and populate the array days at the start of the program. What is days? Well, if you come up here, you'll see it's a one-dimensional array which contains the names of the days of the week. So here we have 15 points here, and okay, as we program this, have the question in front of you. So point 4, write a program that meets the following requirements. 5, input and validate the hourly temperature for 1 week. So what we're going to do here is have a function which validates the temperature input. And then we're going to put here def, and we're going to call it by a meaningful name. At the moment, we're going to have the parameter here blank and pass. So we've formed the shell. Now, what I'm going to do, that's validation, input. Let's have a function actually for input. So inputs the temperatures, and I should probably have written this the other way around, for a given day, and then you probably return this actually, and returns the list, because it's a list of temperatures for a given day of temperatures. Okay, so here we have def input temperatures for day. We'll keep this parameter blank for now, and we have the shell. Okay, so here we've got a function for input, and we've got a function for validation. Then it says here 6, calculate and store the average temperature for each day of the week. So let's do this. Calculates the average temperature for a given day, and you probably return the result somewhere, so you pass that calculation out of the function. So you say and returns the result. So here we have def calculate average temperature, and let's have pass here. So what's the next one here? Calculate the average temperature for a week. So calculates the overall average temperature for the whole week, and you probably pass that out of the function, returns the result. So def calculate average it's for the whole week, isn't it? So let's call this something else actually. Overall average temperature. Okay, this blank, and this is pass here. And do we need to do anything else? Oh, convert all the average temperatures from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So let's do this. Converts the temperatures from Celsius to Fahrenheit and returns the result. Now we have def Celsius to Fahrenheit, and I have pass here. Now then it says output, two outputs here. Now what I'm going to do, you can have functions for those, but in my solution I'm just going to put here, remember to output average temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit for each day, because you're going to see what I'm going to do, but you can program this differently, but it's just my solution. Overall, output the overall average temperature for the week. So remember to output overall average temperature for the whole week. Now here, what we've got here, remember to output the average temperature in Celsius and Fahrenheit for each day, and remember to output the overall average temperature for the whole week, because you're kind of calculating them elsewhere in different functions elsewhere, and then you have to display the result. But we are going to put this code a bit elsewhere. Now you've got different functions here. You kind of need a function to kind of integrate those functions, and that will be called main. So here we've got the main function is where the program execution starts. And I've got here def main. Now, when we have main, we've got some variables, haven't we, that we need to initialize. So first of all, let's initialize days and populate it. Initialize days and populate it. So how do we do this? Days equal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right, so there's 7 days a week. Now what we're going to do here, I'm going to put, that's what you should be putting in your code. But I'm going to comment that out because we're going to test it after we write it. But it will take ages to test it for 7 days. So we're just going to test it for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. But the above code is what you should have. Now, you've got 2 more variables, haven't you? You've got the variable read to hold readings and the average temperature. So here we've got initialize arrays for readings. Now we populate this, so let's just make it blank, and we've got another array which holds the average temperature. So first of all it's blank, and we calculate it and we populate it. Initialize array for average temperature, and therefore we have average temp is equal to that. I'm just looking at the thing. Yes, that's right. So we've got the 3 variables which are mentioned in paragraph 1. So let's start programming. Okay, been taking a break and been writing the next bit of the code here. So we need to input the temperatures for each day of the week, and here is the text here. So how do we do this? We need a loop for day in days. So it goes around this array here, days equals Monday, Tuesday, and the first day it picks up is Monday. So then it prints to the screen input temperature for day, which is Monday, colon. So it expects you to enter a temperature, but then what it does is it invokes the function for inputting the temperature. Temps equal input underscore temperatures for day. So it passes Monday. This is the temperature, this is the function it invokes, input underscore temperatures underscore for underscore day, and it returns temps. Now temps, which it will return, it's a list, a 1D array which will contain the 24 temperatures for each day. E.g. temps will look like this. Temps equals 24, 24, 23, 25, 26, 27, and it will have 24 entries in it. And so that's what this will do. And then it will append this list that you've created for the day, say Monday, to readings. So at the end of it all, readings will look something like this, a 2D array. So you have 1 open bracket, 2 open bracket. This list here corresponds to the temperatures, say, for Monday, and there will be 24 entries here, and this list here corresponds to the temperatures for Tuesday. And obviously we're only going to test it for Monday and Tuesday, but you will have it for, well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now let's have a look at this function here, and you can see this is passing in the parameter day. So let's go up. Okay, so here it is. So it inputs the temperature for the given day and returns a list of temperatures. We had this, and we will now put in this day because we're passing in the day. Now, there's a empty array called temps, and here it goes around this 24 times here for I in range 24 for entering the 24 temperatures. Now here we have while true, what's going on here? While true, temp equals input, enter temperature for hour. So it will print to the screen, enter temperature for hour, str I plus 1 for hour 1, colon, and then you enter a temperature, and it will then call this function validate underscore temperature. It will pass in temp, the temperature you've entered. So let's have a look at that function there. So this function here validates the temperature, and we have now typed in all the code for it. So what is this doing? Try temp equals float. Oh, here temp. We've passed in this parameter here, so we've put this in. And here we have a try except. Temp equals float temp, so make sure that the temp is of type real or float. Here, if it's checking that the temperature is within -20 and 50, if it is, it returns temp, else it returns none. Now, if something goes wrong with this code here, it throws up an exception, except value error, return none. So it returns none if there's a sort of error. So it returns none if there's some error in running this particular function. It returns none if the temperature you've entered is not between -20 and 50. Now if we go back here, if temp is not none, so it enters none, it returns none if there's an error, but if it's not none, you break. So you come out of this while loop here, and then it goes back up to this while loop, and it asks you to enter temperature for hour 2. But if it is none, it goes to else, and it says invalid temperature, or rather invalid input, temperature must be between -20 and 50, and it goes back up to this while loop here. So now after it's executed this while loop and you have entered 24 temperatures corresponding to each hour of the day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, what it does, it's formed a, it's put all the temperatures in temps, and it's formed a list of, a list of the temperatures for the day, and it, or rather it's, no, that's wrong, sorry. Every time you enter a temperature and it validates it as correct, it adds it to this array temps. So you get temps.append temp. So what we have here is if you go round the first time it will say temps will be equal to, say, you've entered 24, so it's got 24. The next temperature you enter, temps equals, say, 24, 25. The next temperature you enter and you add it to temps, temps equals 24, maybe 25, maybe you've added 26. So what I suggest that you do is that this code will be put on GitHub. A link will be put to it. You'll find it in the comments of the YouTube video, and you print it out and you study it. So the next bit is to calculate the average temperature for each day, and I've already put in the code here now. We were having a break. So the average temperature, average temperature equals, and it's empty. Remember, this 1D array was referred to in the question. It's a 1D array used to store the average temperature for each day of the week. First of all, it's empty, and we're going to populate it. So for day underscore readings in readings. Now, if we think that this is readings here, first of all, can you see it's a two-dimensional array, and the first kind of row here refers to Monday, the second row here refers to the temperatures of Tuesday. So therefore it takes one of these rows at a time. So first of all, it takes the data for Monday, for day underscore readings in readings, and what it does for that row, it calculates the average temperature, and it calculates the average temperature using this this function here, calculate average temperature, and the parameter is day readings, and day readings is a sort of the one list here. So let us look at this function here, calculate average temperature. Okay, I have put it in. Before it had a pass. Do you remember this? So def calculate average temperature, day readings, you're passing in that list there, and you return, for each list, you return the average, which is return sum day underscore readings divided by len underscore day readings. So for example, if we pass this in, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, let's pretend it's only got 6 elements in it. The sum of that is this, and the len, it's got 6 items or elements, so it's divided by 6. Remember, it really should be 24 readings, but anyway, but here we're just doing this, so that's what you return, the summation of that divided by 6. So if we come back down here now, for the first round, we the average temp is, remember, 23 plus 24 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27 plus 28. Say here, divided by 6, which is 25.5. So we insert that 25.5 in the array average temp. In the second round, we read these numbers here, and we invoke that function here to calculate the average, and if we calculate the average, we get 12.5, and then we add 12.5 to this array here. So now after the second round, we've got 25.5, 12.5. Now obviously it's going to, in the real thing, it's going to have 7 items, because there are 7 days of the week, and yeah, so that's what you're going to have. Okay, so here we are again. Now, the next line is, or the next function that we look at, we are going to calculate the overall average temperature for the whole week. So what we're going to do here is overall average temp, and we're going to invoke a function called calculate overall average temperatures. And for that, we're going to feed in the two-dimensional array readings, which contain all the temperatures, hourly temperatures we've been inputting for each day. So remember, readings looks like this. So the first row here is for Monday, and here we're just looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 temperatures. Actually, there should be 24 that are input. And remember, the second row here is for Tuesday. And again, we've just put 6 there, but really there should be 24 entries. 24 entries because 1 for each hour. And really, we should have 7 such rows, 1 for each day of the week, and each row containing 24 entries. So that's what we're passing in, and we're passing that in to calculate overall average temperature. So let's go and see what that looks like, that function. Okay, so here is the function, calculate overall average temperature. Now, we've passed in readings, so now this, takes on the name weekly underscore readings. So weekly underscore readings is, exactly the same look as readings. It's down here. And what we do here is total sum equals 0 for day readings in weekly readings. So what it does, it reads a row at a time, and for each row it reads, it then executes this line, it adds all the temperatures. So it's 23 plus 24 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27 plus 28, etc. for each hour. And then it goes and it reads the next row for Tuesday, and it adds everything onto here. So we 23 plus 25 plus 23 plus 24 plus 25 plus 26 plus 27 plus 28, etc. plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13 plus 14 plus 15, etc. And it goes round and it adds all the temperatures that you have input. Then it does this calculation here. Total hours, that's the total number of hours in the week, which is given by this formula here. Len weekly readings times 24, so that's 7, because Len weekly readings is that there are 7 rows, 1 for each day for the week, times 24 for 24 hours in a day. So that's 168 hours in a week. That will come to 168. So the overall average temperature will be total sum, all the summation of everything in that 2D array divided by total underscore hours, and then it returns that value out of that function. It calculates it and it returns it out. Okay, we're towards the end now. Now we have to output the average temperature for each day in Celsius and Fahrenheit. So this is a piece of code here. Now, it says for I in range len days. Remember, days look something like this. 1D array with each day of the week in it. There's 7 days in the week, so len days will be 7 for I in range 7. Then you invoke this line of code here. Print days I. First of all, days I will be days 0 in Python, which will be here Monday. Round average temp. So remember, average temp is where we stored the average temperature for each day of the week, and the 1D array will look something like this. So 20.22 may be the average temperature for Monday, 21.23 the average temperature for Tuesday, and so on and so forth. And this is in Celsius. So round average temp, say 0,1, is 20.2. Remember, they have asked us to output it to one decimal place, so we use the we use round average temp I, comma 1 for one decimal place, C for centigrade. Then we invoke this function here to convert the centigrade to Fahrenheit. Average temp underscore Fahrenheit, comma 1. Oh, sorry, average temp underscore Fahrenheit. So let's have a look at this conversion function, which is, just bear with us, it is up here. Def convert to Fahrenheit. So, okay, suffice to say that this piece of code here, I suggest that you stop and pause the video and study it, invokes this function here for the exact formula for the conversion, Celsius to Fahrenheit, temp. So let's just go up here, and here it is, def Celsius to Fahrenheit, and here is the formula, and they've, I think, given us the formula there. You plug in the Celsius, and then it applies that formula and returns the Fahrenheit. And every time it returns the Fahrenheit, say 20.22, it converts it to the appropriate Fahrenheit, and it puts the Fahrenheit number in a list called Fahrenheit underscore temps, or a 1D array called Fahrenheit's one underscore temps. So what this does, it converts all of the Celsius temperatures to Fahrenheit, and as it does so, it puts the figure that it gets into a 1D array called Fahrenheit underscore temps, and then it returns all the Fahrenheit temperatures. So if we come down here, it then prints the Fahrenheit for Monday, Fahrenheit for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. So here we have it. Okay, finally, we have to output the overall average temperature for the whole week, Celsius and Fahrenheit, into one decimal place. And this is the line of code here. Overall, print overall average temperature for the week, round overall average temp, comma 1. Remember, we did actually calculate this, and that's in centigrade. And remember, we did calculate this before, and we stored it, the value for the Fahrenheit, in overall average temp Fahrenheit. Now, the code will be in GitHub. You can then you will see a reference to it in the comments of the YouTube video, and I suggest that you study the code further. Okay, and in order to invoke this whole program, we have these lines of code. If name equals main, and that's quite a sort of standard way of invoking code. Okay, to save time, we've already run it, and it said input temperatures first of all for Monday, and we entered 24 temperatures for 24 hours of the day. Then it said input temperatures for Tuesday, and we entered 24 temperatures. Can you see 30, 30, 30, all the way to 34 for 24 hours of the day? And then what it did, it calculated the average temperatures for each day. So for Monday, it was 21.7 centigrade or Celsius, 71.1 Fahrenheit. For Tuesday, it was 32.1 Celsius, 89.8 Fahrenheit. And the overall average temperature for the week is 26.9 Celsius. Can you see, to one decimal place all the time, and 80.4 Fahrenheit. So that is it. So what I suggest that you do, you study the program, and I will leave it for you in the comment section of this YouTube video, and you look at the maybe you try and run it yourself, and you look at the what you've been told to do and see how the program relates to that. Maybe you try it yourself. Try and write it some code yourself. Thank you. Bye.